What a day for sport. Yes, for the most part, Johnny Depp's rebuttal is pretty much over, okay? What we heard at the end of the day, outside of, time that's left, and apparently there's going to be a rebuttal from Amber Heard's side of this tomorrow when they have but an hour and Johnny Depp's side has 7, but also, yes, they haven't quite rested yet, even though they did cut the day short, and they have 7 hours. And one more witness to call. Who could that be? After today, does it really matter? Because pretty much Amber Heard got kicked in the teeth from morning till night, and it started off first and foremost with Kate Moss. She was on screen for about 4 minutes, provided testimony that yes, she was in a loving relationship with Johnny Depp, and any sort of inference that there was this horrific stare incident between her and Johnny Depp, she cleared that up, okay? It was a torrential downpour when they were on vacation in Jamaica. Sounds wonderful, okay? Johnny Depp got to take that to Jamaica, okay? Kate Moss, at the height of her fucking beauty, okay? Taking a supermodel, a verifiable supermodel, not like the models that we have now, not like fucking Numi Yu, who, if she would have tripped down the stairs, she would have cracked them, so there would have been fucking verifiable evidence that bitch took a tumble. But Kate Moss, on some slippery stairs in an unexpected downpour, took a dive, okay? On the way down, okay? And as it would be testified to later, she bruised her coccyx, and I came back to see what was the matter. Spoiler alert. But no, she slipped down the stairs. Johnny heard a scream because, as Kate says, made a audible yell for help, and he went back and, yeah. Oh, collected her at, I guess, the bottom of the stairs. Don't know how long these stairs were. Don't know how big those stairs were. Didn't get into cross-examination either. It was just more or less, okay, get this beautiful lady off the screen so you could go ahead and try to, detract from the fact that, once again, everybody who was in a loving relationship, an actual relationship, sorry, Elaine Barkin, yeah, nice tits, but you were in a sexual relationship. You were a side piece. You really do hate to see it. But everybody who was ever in a loving relationship only has nice things to say about Johnny Depp. And Kate Moss, no different. They were in a relationship for 4 years. She has nothing but glowing testimony for him. And that's what she provided first and foremost. And then Dr. Muffins, out of nowhere, she came out and she took the stand and she was there to rebut everything that Don Hughes said. Okay, Don Hughes, Dr. Karen, and it's such a stark contrast, right? Because you had Shannon Curry there, Dr. Shannon Curry, come down, sit on the stand, and Wayne Dennison, okay, did the examination of her and then just allowed her to just open up the fire hose of information. It's such a stark contrast, right? Because like I said yesterday, and many other people have pointed this out, there's just a general likability, okay, an air of credibility as well, and then also just an informative tone that Johnny Depp's experts bring, as opposed to that fucking Sinister Six that gets brought up there from Amber Heard's side, okay, yeah, Dr. Spiegel, who, I don't know if he's going to be the rebuttal witness for tomorrow, but that ought to be fun, but speculation is rife there, but yeah, no, Shannon Curry came down and said, okay, cool. She didn't have to refresh her recollection from her notes, okay? She knew all 12 of the, well, to be fair, though, and Shannon Curry's words, not mine, 8 of the 12 so-called tests were merely checklists, and everything of the other 4, they were either improperly filled out or improperly applied to the situation. She completely and utterly demolished her, and then the cross-examination on her, good old crazy cat lady just came back with some of the greatest hits, and they landed with a total fucking thud. Or like a fish at a certain market. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, Shannon Curry took the stand and was like, listen, Don Hughes administered all of these different tests. Here's exactly what these tests are all about. She didn't miss a stride. Her testimony was fluid, very few ums and ahs in transitioning between the different tests that were up there, explaining everything that they were. It was informative, it was to the point, but it was also very informative, and that is so much different of a presentation as to the scattered brain cross-examination and expert testimony from Amber Heard's side, because their crosses today, Yeah, sure, there was one that might have had something to land to it, but it was going against the most likable guy in the courtroom, you know, the guy who can fucking hold court. But Shannon Curry's testimony, it really was kind of devastating because it was taken down one of the most unlikable people that has ever been in that courtroom in the context of this wider case. And it didn't take her very long, but challenge the findings, okay? Dr. Shannon Curry, a forensic psychologist, but you're not board certified. No, I've only been practicing for like 12 years, but don't worry about that, right? Challenge the findings of Dr. Don Hughes, a clinical psychologist who evaluated Amber Heard and diagnosed the Aquaman actress with PTSD resulting from what she described as intimate partner violence inflicted by Johnny Depp. Dr. Hughes misrepresented the tests and the results that she utilized in her evaluation. He told the jury. Nice little blurb the New York Post only puts, but no, yeah. The tests that Hughes used in order to come to that PTSD diagnosis, and the only probably appropriate one, the one that she barely even filled out, okay, was administered 10 days after the first time, okay, that she administered the CAPS-5 test was 10 days after Dr. Shannon Curry administered hers. So, again, she was an activist, totally fucking put on blast, and all Elaine could come up with was, oh, you had dinner with Johnny Depp! No, it was an interview, stupid, and your fucking questions didn't land with any more. But at least, hey, to your credit, you didn't bring up and linger on the muffins, you fucking retard. Then there was a conference up at the judge's bench, and then, seemingly out of nowhere, our next witness is Johnny Depp. Sorry, what? Yeah, no, he's back on the stand, okay? Back on the stand to tell his story and clear up some information, if you will, back on the stand for the third to last day in his defamation trial. Depp has already given almost 4 days of testimony. Yep, and half of that was cross-examination, and a salty bitch did that right after lunch. But first and foremost, he separated himself from Adam Waldman's statements, okay? Asked about them. Yeah, no, he says, it seems like a bunch of word salad to me. Outside of that, yeah, no, didn't take any credit for it, didn't, elaborate any further other than, yes, I've retained Adam Waldman at one time. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Depp also elaborated on him getting Amber Heard the role in Aquaman. Funny story about that one, okay? Because Johnny Depp was cast in Fantastic Beasts franchise for a minute, and he was there, and he had connections with Warner Brothers, because that's one of Warner Brothers' big studio films, right? Off the back of Harry Potter, those... I know they exist, I haven't seen any of them, but he was, the central cog in that franchise, okay? So he would have a little bit of pull, okay? He could get his bitch a fucking audition, okay? He'd show up and he'd be lending his good word. And what he said was, yes, he spoke to 3 upper echelon people at Warner Brothers executives. They named them, the names don't resonate or anything like that. There was a woman in there and another guy who kind of sounded Japanese, but it wasn't Walter Hamada. But anyways, I can only say that ultimately she did get the job in the film. I supposed I curbed their worries to some degree. So yeah, the rest of the stuff that Amber Heard said could have totally 100% been true. They aren't even using a current picture from the day because Amber Heard was back to wearing the Ava Braun brass buttons jacket. Not the one from like early in the trial, but she was back to the SS regalia. And her hair was also up in a bun because looking feminine is completely out of bounds for that fucking team. You got Elaine, who looks like she just shows up. I don't know if she drives a Segway to the fucking courthouse, but it always looks like she's got permanent helmet hair. Maybe that's where a couple of her cats just circle around and fucking keep the top of her head warm. Maybe that would explain some of the brain damage. And then also elaborating on the Australia story, which is just so wildly different between everybody's recitation of events, okay? Asking if, hey Johnny, okay, Amber, get this one, said that you took between 8 to 10 MDMA pills. And Johnny's like, I've only done MDMA a handful of times over the course of my life. If I took 8 to 10 MDMA pills, like he said, no, I have not, because I'd be dead. It's like, very good, very good. Now remember, yeah, he's apparently also, according to Amber Heard, which, yeah, it's like, it's so fucking absurd, okay? Again, he inflicts all of these horrific, torturous acts against her while he's on the brink of being a walking human overdose. It doesn't make any sense. But of course, that's Amber Heard in a nutshell. We went into a little bit more description as to how he lost his finger after, Amber threw a bottle at him, and then he also drew on the screen as well in a circle, and it's like there's some glass there from a vodka bottle. It looks like it's probably the first one. There's another piece of glass over there, and then there's some more glass over here as well. And again, asked to clarify, it's like, okay, so where exactly was that antique phone that was next to the bar? Where exactly was that? I don't remember any phone. You don't remember destroying a phone into a wall? No, I don't. I remember there being a photograph of a phone at a bar, but it doesn't at all fit the description. And then again, on cross-examination, oh, there was a phone at the bar, right? And you said that there was one there, therefore, fuck off, Rottenborn. He had his most hectic cross-examination. He might have landed some blows, but again, you're going against a guy who holds court, had everybody in the court laughing multiple times, okay? Was giving charming rebuttals to some of the odd objections, okay? He was telling a story about something. The details escape me for the moment, but he was trying to clear up an obvious lie. There's so many that I can't, keep all of them straight. And he's trying to tell his side of the story of that, and then Rottenborn objects, and he's like, oh, no, so that didn't happen. Oh, okay. It was charming. It got chuckles. So trying to go hard against somebody like that who has a rapport with the court like that, you can't read the room. But again, this is a defense team that is run by Amber Heard. She is, okay, I don't know when this changed specifically, but she's sitting at the front, okay, at the front bench. There's 2 benches for the defense side, right? Okay, she's sitting there and she's constantly writing notes and handing them and passing them out, okay? And then at the end of the day, when everybody stands up and everybody leaves the courtroom, she stands around and holds court with all of the attorneys that are there. It's very obvious, and the way that they present themselves in the court, the attorneys, they're just combative, and I don't know if they've been wrapped up into the story that Amber Heard's been telling all of these years, and they're starting to believe their own bullshit. Is that kind of what's happening? Because that's the way that it's coming across, and it'll be interesting because closing arguments on Friday, it's going to be wild. But yeah, okay, transitioning on to the next story that Johnny Depp was dispelling again. And like I pointed out yesterday with Morgan Knight, the guy who owned the trailer palace, the Hicksville trailer palace, okay? Amber Heard was making all of these weird faces, squirming around in her seat, okay, talking with helmet head there, and then whoever was young Cenk Uygur sitting next to her on the other side, just constantly, trying to just act out irrationally back and forth. That's the only criticism that I'd give for Dr. Shannon Curry, and it's not necessarily her fault, okay? It was brought up on cross-examination, okay? You diagnosed her with BPD and HPD, and I was wrong, wasn't it? You looked at everybody else's diagnosis, including Dr. Connell Cohen, a longtime physician for Amber Heard. Well, he doesn't use diagnosis, so he didn't diagnose her with anything. Well, he didn't diagnose, therefore, fuck off. Go home and strangle one of your 1,000 cats, you dumbass. She's just going to be paid in friskies at the end of this. But Amber was again emoting like a 6-year-old, not getting her way, constantly trying to distract everybody else. Oh, look at how preposterous this is, playing to the court, playing to the jury, rather. Meanwhile, on the other side, whenever you'd have some just baffling fucking exchange on cross-examination from either Elaine or Rottenborn or any of the other litany of buffoons that call themselves lawyers, Johnny was smiling. Camille was she pulled a couple of faces that were caught on camera, and it's like, this is absurd. And then they would just glance over to the jury every once in a while. They wouldn't make it seem so obvious, but then at the same time, it's like, do you believe this shit, without actually like pointing and being too terribly illustrative with their body language. Unlike Amber Heard, who, remember, for the first 4 fucking weeks was just Xanaxed eyes out of her mind and just sitting there stoically. And now, you're floundering around, you're going to raise attention to yourself, and people are going to be like, that really is distracting, and what are we not trying to pay attention here? Okay, why are you trying to get attention onto yourself? Oh, because you're insane. But Depp and Curry and all of these other witnesses that have come forward during the rebuttal have also done this really really cool mental trick for everybody, okay, especially for the jury and then also for the gallery and the wider audience as well, which Elaine, that's her big fucking claim to fame right now, that she says for everybody who takes a stand on rebuttal, you know this is televised and you're just trying to get your 15 minutes of fame. That line came back to bite her in the ass. Thank God she's probably not going to be crossing anybody else, depending on who is the final witness that's going to be called on rebuttal tomorrow morning for Johnny Depp. But whatever, okay? So Johnny Depp refuting one specific claim. You remember the stair incident, right? Right at the top of the stairs, Amber Heard was getting a very hyperbolic about her testimony. Oh, Johnny was beating me about the face with his, I don't know, fucking gauntlet that he had on, and you know what, he was taking off his Kung Lao hat, and he was going to start cutting me up like Zorro and some whatever fucking fantastical story she was weaving. But she also let slip, oh, and then I was thinking about Kate Moss. And then Johnny Depp, that's why Kate Moss, first thing in the morning, was so great. It was only 4 minutes, but it's a callback, right? Because everybody, you know, everybody who's paying attention to Johnny Depp, the gallery, was leaning in. Theoretically, the jury would also be, you know, highly paying attention to that as well, because he's a central figure. And then also, he's a charming guy whenever he talks. He commands a room, okay? Everybody at the end of the day in the gallery is still standing. I know the jury's not, you know, in the room at the time, but they're standing, waiting for Johnny Depp to just turn around and wave to everybody in the gallery at the end of the day, give the old pat on the heart and, you know, fist bump out there. He has adoring fans, which I'm sure in some form or fashion probably also gets picked up by the people in the courthouse as well. You can hear the screams and yells and like it's the fucking Beatles at Shea Stadium, with everybody out there in attendance just wanting to voice their support for Johnny Depp. So anytime that he makes a callback to something that happened previously in the case, that adds emphasis to it, okay? It might not take up a lot of time, but at the same time, he's lending credibility to it, like he did with Warner Brothers and the Aquaman role. Gave her the test, okay? Gave her probably a little bit of a head start on the selecting process. That's just my opinion on it, okay? Because he wasn't allowed, oh, that's hearsay, what he actually said to any of the higher-ups at Warner Brothers. But like he would go on to say about, okay, the stairs incident, you know, Kate Moss slipping down the stairs that were wet, okay? Johnny Depp told jurors that Kate Moss's testimony was accurate and alleged that Amber Heard manipulated a story about the model falling down the set of stairs to fit her own narrative. It's something I hadn't heard before, and again, Amber brought it up. I didn't know about this at the time, okay? I had to do my own research on this incident, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. That was a tabloid story from back in the cut when I was of, you know what, maybe first or second grade age. And Johnny Depp pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But what was Kate Moss's side of the story? Okay, oh, Johnny, actually, that's not even close to being the story at all, and clarified that today for the record. It's on the record now, okay? Johnny, you know, it was just a nice guy collecting a fallen woman. No, good, wouldn't abuse her. He hired the stairs to take her out. Whatever. But yes, confirmed that Kate Moss's testimony was accurate and alleged that Amber Heard manipulated a story about the model falling down the stairs to fit her own narrative. No! And that's exactly what Johnny Depp did on Rebuttal, just tearing down a bunch of the different claims that Amber Heard had, like the Australia story, like the Kate Moss incident, and then we're going to get into another one as well that Rottenborn focused on and tried to provide some evidence, and it should have backfired again because unintentionally, okay, Amber Heard's team provided some callback evidence that probably is going to bite them in the ass. Anyways, as Kate Moss, Kate testified, it was many, many years ago, and exactly what happened is she said happened. Depp said, I recall speaking with Miss Heard about that very incident. Oh, okay, cool. So once again, this is why, okay, this is what also I was saying about Amber Heard's testimony. She probably was accessing some violence in her past and the way that she was expressing it. The two parties in the violent encounter probably being reformatted for the benefit of her story. But she's taking specific instance and then dropping them in order to fit her narrative, see her former assistant and a certain bottle story. But she did that. It's on the record now, okay? She was the one to drop the name on that, so she could have avoided that hammer, but then again, that's just a theme for her and her lackeys there with cheap jackets. Anyways, Moss said Wednesday she slipped down the stairs in the rain while she and Depp were in Jamaica in the 1990s. The two dated between 94 and 98. And again, Amber Heard big sad about the fact that Kate Moss was in a longer relationship and still looks better than Amber Heard does today. Miss Heard took the story and turned it into a very ugly incident, all in her mind. There was never a moment where I pushed Kate down any set of stairs, yet she spewed this 3 times before. And then, because Johnny's brought as a rebuttal witness to what anything was brought in the case in chief for Amber Heard, he brought up this story right here. A lot of people have made a lot about the photograph that's presented there, and it's interesting, right? Okay. Johnny Depp testified that Miss Heard hit me when asked how he received a bruise under his left eye during his troubled honeymoon with Amber Heard on the legendary Orient Express train in July of 2015. I had a sort of a shiner, but it all ended and everything got fine again, he continued. We go to dinner. And then also on cross-examination, when it was brought up again and another picture, another very obviously different iteration of that photo was brought up, it was washed out. Okay, I tried to find the exact picture that they were using in order for a comparison on cross, and it's like, well, you didn't actually have a bruise on your face at all, no, did you? Because there was another version of this picture that was posted by the people who operate the Oriented Expression. Why would they have an interest in trying to make sure that it looked like nobody who takes their train and engages in their amenities, they would get beat up or anything like that? Why would you want to put that out there? No, exactly. So they had a washed out version of that, and you could still see that there was a mouse under his eye, and yeah, that kind of sucks. But then again, on direct examination, I know I'm just crossing the timelines here, but there was another picture, another fairly famous picture, taken a couple days later once they ended up landing again, either in Singapore or something like that. Can't quite remember, but there's another picture, yeah, of him with another mouse under his eye. So yeah, exactly. The fact that one of the first things on cross-examination Rottenborn brought up is like, oh, well, this happened beforehand, and as you can see in this picture, there's also a shiner under your eye, so therefore Amber Heard could not have ever hit you at all whatsoever on the Orient Express, so you're a liar, not us. Well, as Depp said, the lighting from this picture, as you can see, window on this side, okay, and flash from the camera, everything's all coming in on this side. It's very obvious that pictures, the lighting in the picture is coming in that way. So his pronounced occipital bones right there, okay, created a shadowing effect. But that was a black eye, though. Johnny went on to elaborate his relationship with Whitney Heard. Well, now Whitney Henriquez and Amber as well, without him necessarily saying that they had a specific type of kinship, because they have a fairly similar relationship, okay? Depp claims Heard treated her sister like a punching bag. Johnny Depp was asked about the relationship with Amber Heard's sister, Whitney Henriquez, and said she took it very quickly at first. She was a very sweet kid. She was wonderful, told the jury, but Depp claimed Henriquez got the dirty end of the stick and was treated as a trusted sister and a friend, or a lackey, or a punching bag, or a dartboard. Okay. He testified that he has seen Heard throw wine in her sister's face. She would have wine thrown in her face. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, that was his specific testimony. That's just that unfortunate woman. She also, yes, when it comes to emotional and physical abuse, she got the short end of the stick, or the dirty end of the stick, sorry. We know how the dirt got there. But also when it comes to looks and, facial features, yeah, fucking everything checks out there. Whitney was trying to please her sister, trying to be up to snuff, but it seemed like she got shot down. I've certainly seen Whitney I've definitely seen Miss Heard grab Whitney, push her around, Depp testified. Depp said Henriquez, who stayed for a time with the troubled couple in their Los Angeles apartment, said Heard eventually kicked her sister out after the fight and then went to go live with Jennifer Howell, who testified via video deposition yesterday, and you wouldn't be ridiculed for forgetting about that. Oh yes, and long and short about that TMZ motion that we talked about at the end of the video yesterday. Yeah, they lost because their attorney's not very good, but at least Ben Chu got out a good burn. It's like, oh, okay, cool. TMZ is not exactly the most reputable website. We're not talking about Edward R. Murrow here. Nice burn, but the guy that they were trying to prevent from being able to testify in this didn't actually damage any of the credibility of TMZ because he didn't name names or anything like that. All he did was just say that we got all of our information directly from the source without having to say the source, but, you know, it was heavily implied. If you've been following along, like a lot of people have, I think they got the gist of it. Oh, yes, and then stupid Rottenborn here, okay? I know I went into a lot of the cross-examination. We were talking about direct as well, and then just how it was intermingled and all that stuff. And then they just came up with a bunch of different text messages, which is funny, right? I'll try to enlarge this here for a second because it's very important that we look at a certain aspect of these text messages here, okay? I know everything else is a little bit thrown off, but what's important is this right here, okay? The body of the exhibit, okay? 883. Johnny was very vociferous in his objection to ever really notice or recognize these texts that are here. The way that he speaks, the way that he writes, the way that he carries himself is not quite as blunt and straightforward as this, okay? And as you can see here, the two text messages that Rottenborn was like, you were being mean in text messages. You were engaging in locker room talk. He didn't say that, but that again was also heavily implied. So, okay, it says here, okay, two text messages between him and they didn't even allege, okay, a bunch of, Stephen Deuters. It was apparently between Johnny Depp and Stephen Deuters, even though a lot of numbers were also redacted on this. Just saying. Okay, right, exactly. Molly's pussy is rightfully mine. Who's Molly? We never got clarification on that. Should I not just bust in and remove its hinges tonight? Okay. And then the second text message, I want to change her understanding of what it is like to be thrashed about like a pleading mackerel. I need, I want, I take. That actually got read in court. Funny, but not the funniest text message of the day. But y'all notice anything about these text messages in particular? Fucking Johnny Depp's lawyers didn't, but you can see here, these messages are incoming. They're incoming. And apparently, well, actually not apparently, but when discovery was done, all the communications were provided by Johnny Depp's side. Ergo, if he was sending those messages, would they be incoming to his phone if he was the one sending them? No. Nope. That's why he didn't realize, and he never said those were mine specifically. He's like, well, if the numbers line up, I guess somebody else could have taken my phone and texted that. That's not the way I talk. And we also had verification that even in the most vulgar of text messages and communications, he speaks a lot more eloquently and uses much better metaphors than I want this bitch flopping around like a fucking dead mackerel, I guess. He's much more flowery and illustrative with his text messages. So again, I think that this was improper impeachment. They can bring it back up in closing, but it was a huge fucking swing and miss. They weren't really paying that close attention to it. And then, yes, of course, talking again about Aquaman. Oh, Johnny Depp, you sent a text message to your sister that you wanted Amber Heard removed from a WB film. And that means that you were trying to get Amber Heard fired from Aquaman because you talked to 3 people at Warner Brothers. No, I didn't. Well, you did. Okay, but I didn't. Okay, but you made a text message to your sister. Sister doesn't work for Warner Brothers. What the fuck are you on about? Oh, but I want to read this text message because, again, Rottenborn just fucking losing his mind, trying to think that going after Johnny Depp, who, again, he's the most likable person in the courtroom, okay? You might not like his case. You might not like his facts. You might have, brain damage and all that stuff. But again, taking a look at everybody that's out there, and okay, yes, Johnny did cop to this text message, and what does it have on there? Outgoing. Very critical piece of information. Hopefully brings that up, okay? But this was, yes, all the people engaged in this communication, okay, him, owner, okay, so Depp, okay, Christian Carino, at the time, Johnny Depp's agent, and Amber Heard's as well, okay? Owner, him again, and Christy Dombrowski, Johnny Depp's sister, okay, who was managing his career in some form or fashion. But this is the way Johnny Depp speaks, okay, with proper grammar as well, which is terrific, and another reason why I like Johnny Depp. Okay, and then also we'll probably get into it, to the fact that it's like, okay, listen, I do a lot of charity work. You guys have seen the videos. They're not like I tell anybody to show up for the cameras or anything like that. I'll actually try to turn a movie premiere into some sort of a charitable event with the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, or try to integrate Make-A-Wish, to show up at a sick kid's bedside. That's a little bit more important than publicly writing a check, which also I will donate to charity. This is all through Johnny Depp's eyes and his testimony as well. Okay, rather just donate to charity. He doesn't need his name attached to it or anything like that. He'll just make those charitable donations, and then also do something physically, okay, where he can't rescind any of the credit because he's actually there. And again, that's endearing. Okay, the fact that he doesn't need his name in headlines. He doesn't need to be taking credit for anything like that, even if somebody's paying his bills for him. But you still needed it accredited, okay, and you still need the credit for somebody else paying it. But yeah, on somebody else's behalf, we need to give the flowers to that. Who could possibly be engaging in behavior such as that? Wouldn't know for sure, but that was also to rebut, what was that, the crooked business manager who got taken to task and sued for $25 million, settled for about 10 to 15. Anyways, this is the way that Johnny Depp speaks, via text communication, okay? She's begging for total global humiliation. She's gonna get it. I'm gonna need your texts about San Francisco, brother. I'm even sorry to ask, but she sucked mollusks crooked dick and gave her some shitty lawyers. Who's mollusk? Elon Musk, by the way. Okay, and this was after their little torrid love affair, or while they were engaged in that, but then also at the same time kind of implicating that Elon Musk is funding the defense team, which is always just fun to throw in as well. I have no mercy, no fear, and not an ounce of emotion, or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. Oh, and even she tried to look like this isn't just the hyperbolic insanity at this point, but as you can see, a lot more descriptive with his text message here. That's why I didn't recognize the other ones that were not his, just received them, not his. Anyways, I'm so fucking happy. She wants to go to fight this out. She will hit the wall hard. Case in point, there it is, 6 years later. Looks like Johnny Depp, great actor, and also a pretty good prognosticator of future events. And I cannot wait to have this waste of a cum guzzler out of my life. Oh, so funny. I met a fucking sublime little Russian here, which made me realize the time I blew on that 50-cent stripper. Oh, you got outdone by a younger, tighter model. Oh, sucks to suck. I wouldn't touch her with a goddamn glove. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her. Oh my god, sorry man, but now I will stop at nothing. Let's see if Mollusk has a pair. Doubt it, he sent them to Mars. Come see me face to face. I'll show him things he's never done before, like the other side of his dick when I slice it off. And again, that was supposed to be introduced as evidence that he was abusive towards Amber Heard. Where's the violence? And also, where's that him trying to get rid of Amber from Aquaman? Kind of lacks in that direction, but it does make him seem fucking based as hell. So yeah, following that up, Morgan Tremaine, should remember it because motherfucker just came in there, was like, hey, you know how Amber Heard admitted to tipping off TMZ about the TRO at the LA Police Department? Yeah, they also told us exactly when she'd be coming out, okay, and how she would be posing, and what to look for, and what to look for in the pictures that we were going to be taking, that she was going to have a bruise on her face and that needed to be captured. Okay, he broke it down. Okay, Morgan Tremaine, who was in charge of the field reporters, he was the guy who sent, he was basically dispatched for TMZ to send out the fucking, the paparazzi to go take the shots and everything like that. They were alerted, okay, through a verified source, through one of the news editors got the source, okay, they got the tip off on that, and they only take those tips if they're independently verified or if they come from a reliable source. Very important to note for that. And they were tipped off multiple times, whether Amber Heard was coming in for a deposition. Okay, she would be at this law firm. Okay, TMZ was reported on that, so she would be there, take the picture. One time it didn't work out, but then they were also re-informed of when this would be happening again, and then they did manage to take the picture. And then also, when it came to the cabinet slamming video, he also testified that I seen a different version of that video. Okay, it's still the video itself, okay, what is played is real, okay? That was intended. Just what was before that and also what was after that, okay? Showing that Amber knowingly set it up, looking into the camera, and then also at the end of it, a little bit of time, okay, looking at the camera, snickering at it, knowing exactly what she had caught from it. So, the only edit that he made, not him personally, he was just there for the entire editing, process, was put the watermark on it, okay? Little bumpers, the little TMZ dun 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 bumpers, and then also, did I say the big watermark over top of it? But I will, because that also indicates copyright. Now, how can they claim copyright over just apparently an anonymous tip, which would have been delivered via Dropbox link to TMZ's email tip line? And then normally, okay, in order before they put something out there, okay, they need to verify it through either two independent sources. They do their work, right? Okay, they do all of their information that's out there. Or they can publish it rather quickly if they get word from the copyright holder, the person who created the work. If they hand it over like that, or if they receive it in person, a direct handoff, okay, they can publish the video or the article or anything like that, the tip, within about 10 to 15 minutes. How long did it take them to publish that story and use that video? About 10 to 15 minutes. Yep. They got it direct from the source, okay? So any of those assertions that Amber Heard, I have no idea. I wouldn't even know how to tip off TMZ at all. That motherfucker blew everything up. And then this was when Elaine, just destroyed her credibility. I don't think she did anything else for the rest of the day because Morgan Tremaine was up there, okay? Remember, this dude worked for TMZ, okay? If he wanted to be famous, he could have got famous. He would have had the connections in order to achieve some modicum of fame, right? And he's I don't want to be no homo or anything like that, but he's a decent looking dude. He should be able to get some sort of role out there, right? Okay? But again, Elaine was like, oh yeah, I contacted because you wanted to be on camera. You wanted to be on TV. You know how popular this trial is. And then Morgan responded as like, yeah, I know it's televised and I had no assumptions. I didn't even want to be testifying in this. I just wanted to clear up some of the details because I have intimate knowledge of this specific instance because I worked on it at the time. I wanted to clear up anything for the team and I contacted them a couple of days ago to see if I could lend some help. And then, now I'm here to testify. Great. And then Elaine, as idiotically as you can possibly get, said, well, now you just wanted to be here because of your 15 minutes of fame. And then Morgan shoots back with probably the biggest fucking burn of the entire trial so far. Morgan said, well, I could accuse you, Elaine, of doing the exact same thing by taking Amber Heard as your client. That should have just been the mic drop of the entire case because, nobody's coming back from that. So they just had to shuffle along to my man right here, okay? Like a 70-year-old Bob Barker, okay? That's who this guy looks like. He was a metadata expert, and his name's Norbert. He looks like a Norbert. He presents like a Norbert, but his job is absolute case killer for Amber Heard. You remember all of those fun little selectively presented photographs? Yeah, they were all ran through some sort of an photo editing software. Yeah, every single last one of them. And the motherfucker who was cross-examining him opened up the door to testimony, which was just fucking absurd. It was, in some form or fashion, one of the motions in limine, one of the pre-discussed issues heard before the court was they weren't going to be able to discuss anything when it comes to specific metadata, so like the time that the picture was taken and all that kind of fun back-end stuff, okay? It'll tell you exactly when the photo was taken. You can see it, you can access it on your phone at any time. Though that piece of information was never turned over to the court, okay? Because it's gone, it's something like that. We can't turn it over, blah, 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 blah. Stop asking questions, even though we have like 80,000 photos or something like that. Can't turn over any of the metadata, okay? And then this dude just broke it down. It's like, nope. Pictures that were presented before the court they have been altered in some form or fashion. Case in point, I'm going to do an analysis of it right here. Okay, as you can see, you remember, you might be able to recall this picture that's right here. This was, I forget exactly which instance that Amber made up in her head, but Johnny, with all of his rings on his fingers, beat her about the head so many times that she forgot, okay? And she also forgot to include any bruising on her face, but there's no visible injuries that you can see, but there is a bruise that literally I'll wake up with something worse than that on my legs or something like that every day, but that was the only bruise that I recall. Okay, and she took a picture of it. Actually, she took probably multiple pictures, or she had them edited, because he provided, you know, the kilobytes. Okay, he provided the size of the photos, and you can also see this data on any one of your viewing devices that's out there, and it's apparently the exact same picture, but it's different iterations of it. Okay, you have 712 kilobytes, you have 489 kilobytes, you have 524 kilobytes. They're all the same picture. Yup, run through different software. Kind of like this picture as well. Okay, you have Amber Heard here, the original photographer, as best as you can tell. But then there was another one that was presented. Oh, and that was saved and potentially edited via Photos 3.0. Photo editing software, like you can see here. One photograph, yep, the original photograph. What exactly is that? A little bit of redness. What do you see here? Oh, that looks a little bit more pronounced now, doesn't it? Yep. You ran that back a couple of different times for a couple of different photos. Most specifically, there was one after the final blow up, okay, in May of 2016. Okay, there was this one picture of Amber Heard with her eyes half cocked, and she said on her, I think it was cross-examination, oh, one version of that photo has the vanity lights on and the other one doesn't. It was the exact same color saturation, color difference that you had here. One had more saturation, the other one didn't, and guess which one was provided to the court? Well, that would be the one that looked worse, just like it was in this situation. And he broke that down in a couple of different photographs that were there, and he went into the fact that there was no way to authenticate any of these photographs because it was recycled over and over and over again. The only way that he could authenticate, and the only way that anybody could authenticate these photographs, is if they had the source material, okay, the original phones that were used to take those pictures. Okay, this was 6 years ago. Okay, people who have important evidence don't throw out their phones, don't get rid of the original source material. But the photographs that were turned over in discovery, they were iTunes backups of backups of backups backups of backups backups backups. These are generations old, generations different. Don't know if the source material was the one that was edited or if it was just the stuff that was presented in discovery that weren't so obviously color corrected. And yet at the same time, Amber Heard alleges that the Orient Express honeymoon photograph, oh, that's which one was photoshopped. But then at the same time, you have the audacity to provide such evidence as this. I can't imagine who you're going to bring on your rebuttal to, I don't know, resuscitate any credibility that you have left, because good old Norbert here, he ruined your case. Absolutely fucking ruined it, okay? And that's what was going to be left lingering. And if it wasn't bad enough, okay, if she wasn't the case, this is, you know, just metaphorically crunched up in the fetal position, they brought out the police officer who arrested Heard in 2009. Couldn't say specifically that she was an officer, but you could tell by her testimony. She said, well, I called over my colleague and I saw that two people, her travel partner and Amber Heard herself, were engaged in some sort of a physical altercation. I separated the two, and then I took note of the situation, and what I noticed was the suspect, or Amber Heard, reached and viciously grabbed a necklace off of her travel partner's neck. Travel compartment, that's probably where Amber Heard has stuffed a bunch of different compatriots. But no, ripped a necklace off of her neck, grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her as well, and then I went over and I intervened. It sounded exactly like a cop. Couldn't say specifically that she was a cop, but Beverly Leonard, a police officer who arrested Amber Heard in Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in 2019, she went into the future, and still Amber Heard's a cunt for allegedly physically hitting her then partner Tasia Van Ree testified about the bust. Who the fuck wrote this? Elizabeth Rossner? What are you high? Are you on 8 to 10 MDMA? But no, she didn't specifically name Tasia Van Ree. Okay, she didn't identify herself as a police officer. All she said was this, to this effect: Amber was aggressive towards her traveling companion. She grabbed her arm, pulled her necklace off, and she seemed to not to be very steady on her feet. Oh yes, and also Amber smelled like alcohol, kind of her MO. Her eyes were blurry, and I could smell alcohol. There it is. Leonard was contacted last night by Johnny Depp's team to testify. Oh yeah, and then Elaine tried to make a big stink about that, but that was the only thing that she said. Therefore, leaving 1 hour for cross-examination of the witness that should be called on rebuttal tomorrow, which is apparently, it's on the witness list, the flight attendant of the Russia flight. Okay, the Russia flight where Amber Heard alleged that Johnny Depp grabbed her wrist and, it said the whole, do you know how many pounds of pressure it takes to break a human wrist? That flight attendant's going to come and testify. Don't know if it's going to be video deposition. It would be more impactful if they rested their rebuttal on a in-person witness, but who really knows? Not everything lined up today. I don't think they necessarily wanted, especially with some of the closing remarks from Johnny Depp, I don't think that they wanted him to go where he went, but it was impactful, okay, because the final two experts that were up there, the final two witnesses that were called, really just dug a ditch and threw buckets of dirt over top of the credibility of Amber Heard by just exposing all of her photographic evidence as being lies, as her alerting the paparazzi, wanting to get her name out in the papers, wanting to attract attention to her verifiable hoax at this point. Is there any lingering question outside of mass media trying to push their narrative that this was just a fucking lie orchestrated from the ground up? Like Johnny said in his remarks, which he was probably going to be the final witness brought, but the timing just didn't work out that way. But it was one little lie. I'll be interested. Tomorrow is going to be a much shorter day in court because, yes, the other side only has an hour. So who the fuck are you going to call? Who's even left? You could bring some of your witnesses, but they've already been hobbled by every single one of Johnny Depp's witnesses and, reality at this point. So experts, not really going to add that much. Maybe Tasia Van Ree, but then again, that opens up the door to the police report and all that stuff because none of it really makes sense, but they're going to be providing something, and there's one more rebuttal witness, so might only be a half a day, but it's definitely 100% closing arguments will be Friday, and we're just about done here, kids. It's been a trip. I've enjoyed covering this, and yeah, until tomorrow, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.